Next second, the tower was right above the head of the CA campus. When you see that, calmly say, CA school at this time has fallen into the position of the incompetent department, and there's a yellow glow all around. Take the tower. I can't help but scream out loud when I hear that. Try to. The homeless department laughed and looked satisfied and screamed. If you are more than human, you are better. Since then, there have been countless geniuses. But it can be a name. Just count on your fingers. And he's got a sword on his back. And put on a sinister smile. He said that. What I don't know is the sky is thick. Really, that only one has the power of the landscape. You can take another enemy bar. CA Bar turned to look Hyan and panicked. He said, I tried to kill him. Tint Hyman grinds her teeth and frowns. He said in a voice filled with anger that deserved death. If there weren't countless towers here, then they can make Sao can touch the young man. Then they asked them to do it. Do you have anything to say now? He gripped the sword and continued to waste. Any more words would directly kill him. Then you can go into the control circuit. That suddenly in vain, the tower appeared cracks. It's made the homeless department look amazing. He rolled his eyes and shouted no. It's impossible. Next, there's a yellow light coming out of the tower. Seconds later, the tower was shattered, creating a bright yellow glow. The small stones also slowly fell. The whole body of the school at this time, surrounded by a stream of light. Purple and red. It looks scary. The school CA spoke up. Keep your eyes open to the world. False as a cloud. More or less in the world. You can't lose people in your whole life. Reach the god of the monk scene. Next, CA raised her hand to create a pink light. Then you say, the landscape is not even better. But God came down. All three of you. Insufficient facilities and millions of heaven. See that then, sweating profusely and starting to roll out. Three of them screamed badly. CA's eyes flashed a red light. He raised his hand to create a ray. The pink light shone across and said, with insects like you. And then there's a colorful light coming up. It's all over the space. The pink light that the school CA launched. It also makes everything fall apart. The monster that everyone is riding. They don't stop screaming. Everybody's all falling over and showing up very upset. AI also frowned and sweated profusely. The soldiers around. It doesn't seem to be able to take it anymore. Then the monsters along with everyone, AI. Slowly falling down. And there's a really big explosion. CA Bar and Thatch Hyan see that. It's not surprising, to the point of rolling your eyes. If you do that, you start to sweat. And then spend a few bucks and go to the homeless department. Not you say. You can fight the SAO landscape. If you hear that, be silent and say nothing. Next second, the homeless department spat out blood. He looks very seriously injured. The market saw that, then it went to help the inexhaustible. Then he hesitated to tell you. What kind of person are you after all? The school raised a finger. And respond to countless lifetimes. Then the CA school calmly said, the gods of heaven. Half a month later, on the outskirts of Central Europe, there's a voice. What you say to the world. It has been said from ancient times that flying is extremely difficult. I want to make the world even more impossible. This is a complete paradox. Everyone on the street is talking about it. Now, that's the young man's mouth. Not wrong. I heard that man was just a trick. 3 forces came to threaten us. Tai hallowed land 2. The tower of the Emperor of Japan has been destroyed. The people kept laughing and talking. The Holy Land is really lucky. Blame an old man. There's a big thigh running up to them. It's not even based on the great lady. See a bar of Thai sacred land, here, Sao. Someone reached out and said, I think of a disciple here. The name of the Holy Land. And there was a man who folded his arms and laughed back. Don't mention him anymore. The boy wanted to be with the Lord. The holy woman. As a result, Cho was beaten and crawled on the ground. Can't move. That man said again. Even the scabies that want to eat swans don't know. Look at me as the #1 beauty. Is it you he can reach out to? The man continued to laugh. But those people don't know. That conversation was passed by a naked spy. Can hear. Those people, who are also married, look very satisfied. Suddenly, a red light appeared. Write down where those people are. Anyone who sees that is also very curious. Someone asked, what is this? The naked eel wears a black cloak and speaks softly. Burning wire. There's a fire that burns those people down. Those people are in pain, and they're constantly coming up here. This is a fire. Someone's screaming in the fire. There are storks. The naked eye moves forward. Then he dusted his hands and said, Thai occult sacred site CA. I will pay you back 100 times as much for that day. On the other hand, everyone's AI is also slowly moving forward. The great power. There's a voice. Inside the palace, Tai Shin Holy Land today is as powerful as the midday sun. Please do more than the Holy Father. Hyan Tai hands up. Express your intentions and happily respond. If you have any, you should thank the Lord. The poor man spoke upright. I have to thank the Lord for his kindness that day. We can sit here safely. Like today, the market is sitting with vegetable claw, and spend it laughing very happily. Then there was a voice. Later 3 forces. We will see the Holy Land as its owner. They're just cooperating, not adversaries. CA is currently sitting in a chair. Cover your mouth with your hand and smile softly. The school saw that and asked. Then the CA bar was happy to answer. The men didn't hear what they said. They're all old men. That's faster than a 3-year-old. The teacher held a cup of hot tea in her hand and asked. Right, if you like it. Let them bloom for a while. Then someone gave it. The letter came and announced the saint. The 3 princes of the imperial household in China. Send an invitation to. I invite you to the last chapter. When the school heard that, they asked the emperor. The CA bar moves forward. Take the letter and explain. It's a royal power in Central Europe. Unpredictable deep context. I heard that thousands of years ago, there is also a false flag rising to the sky. That 3 princes were born like 3,000 years ago. There is also a very strong endowment. In the head of the CA campus, there's a box. I slowly drink my tea and think. Central Europe. On the Temple of Dan, there is a record. Apricot is also in Central Europe. Next second, tried to chastise CA with a sinister smile, and thought. See, it's time to move on. Maybe you can meet a new vegetable. And Kadadi scrubbed down the table and voiced some sort. 3 months later we leave. When I hear that, I am glad to say yes. Then the CA bar goes out of the room and gently closed the door. The school suddenly realized that, if not by mistake, the wise man is a dead man in Africa. The world. Then the old man appeared. along with a stream of black light. He bowed his head and performed the ceremony. Then he answered, Lord. 3,000 years ago, old slave. It's in the celestial sphere of Central Africa. Then I entered the world. The power is weak, the most anti-religious control is Curry May. At that time, the old people stood out to help escape from the sea of suffering. Otherwise, the old man would have died there. The school said that. 3 months later, we went to China. You are welcome to visit your family. The monkey could not help but rejoice and replied, Thank you for thinking about the old man. The teacher picked up a cup of tea and said, The old man doesn't need that. It's just the way you go. This kind of little thing. I just made him work for me wholeheartedly. Let my image be elevated again. It's such a good thing. Why not do it? 3 months later, Central Europe became the capital of China. It's a very peaceful scene. Lam Thu Han is still teaching very enthusiastically the ancient language, so heaven and earth, everything has its spirit. False flag vi flag flag. Vi Lin false remembrance, and Lin Tian is sitting below. I fell asleep on the table. When I saw that, I was silent for a long time. Then she reminded the sky. You dare to sleep in my class. The students around, they all looked at the sky and whispered. Cultivate a place with a trash name. This mountain is too shameful. If not, he's from the forest. Billions are elders in the hospital. How could he come here to study with us? The old man is also unlucky. I have a brother like this. Then he closed his eyes and shouted out to the Lord. Can you hear me? Lin Thien was lying on the table, hesitantly speaking to the king. Next second, the sky lies up and sweats profusely. Then you scream. The king is not satisfied. Everyone in the class heard that. Everyone is looking at the sky. Then, someone laughed and teased the king. Laughing at me. What is this idiot dreaming about? The Lord asked me who you are. This is where no one answers this little wasteland. You are sleeping stupidly. Master, I tell you this. This is the sky. Central Europe, 6 Central England heaven. Lin Thien hesitated to hear that. Speaking in an unbelievable tone, the Chinese are loyal to you. Next, Lin Tian looked at the palm of his hand and pondered. That's what Ra is. That's what Ra is. Heaven is not my way. A soul like me. I finally got the right body. Right after that, he put the book down on the table and shouted. That's enough. Lam Thu Han frowned and stood cross-legged. He looks very angry. Then she screamed. How long are you going to mess up? This month, if you don't break through. Get out of the academy. Until then, your family cannot protect you. Lam Thu Han shouted loudly again. You treat your dead parents like that. Your family has been so dedicated to nurturing you. Everyone in the classroom right now, they all looked at the sky and laughed. Lin's whole body began to shake. He slowly stood up and laughed. Then he's aesthetically just one. Spirit of the sea. Something makes it difficult for me. Soon after, Lin Tian stood up with her hands out and screamed. Less than half a month. We must break through those who despise us. I will trample you underfoot. Suddenly, everyone looks out and sees something. It's amazing. Someone hesitated to say this is. Then the sky is now dark. And there's this intense thunder. And there's a boat going straight ahead. At the same time, the school is practicing. Then receive a test notification. To see the new Kai Kai. If the school sees that, it will talk about it. In a room where someone asks questions. What happened? And everyone went to the great elder and said, the elders at SAO have gathered us together. He hesitated to answer. Today, I can feel the smell of my ancestors. You can't help but be surprised to hear that. To the point where you're gaping and screaming. What is? Lin Ming's ancestors flew 3,000 years ago. Then the great elder threw his staff to the ground. He stood up slowly and hesitated. Our ancestors are coming back to the forest. We have high hope at the same time. There's a boat in the sky. Is rushing straight ahead. There's a voice. How much of the buff's airway system is left? The system's notification boomed 230 times. CA School is standing on that boat right now. When he heard that, he closed his eyes and said, it's about countervailing. Actually, my air and the air of all the Kai clouds. They're all too big. So please exist. A message pops up, that's right. Based on the donor's airflow being elevated. Then the treachery caused by air transportation will gradually disappear. CA School thought deeply. The variable that appears is me. The sky is also difficult to protect the Kai. From there, the screen shows a notification about the personal information of the CA. I see that in a whisper. It's just this black object of mine. Delegate for something. Maybe it's just my villain. I look ahead and think. No matter how the situation develops in front of you, it is still under my control. At the end of the school, I thought, new shallots have appeared, so try to squeeze. Exhausted it right. The next second, the CA bar runs too. If I see that, I will walk towards you. CA fun to say. The man's mood is not bad today. CA's aunt saw that her airflow was 400. The beauty of this lady. Since when did it go up to 400? I told my airflow to stay steady. Turns out, it's influenced by her airflow. When I finished, I hugged the waist of the CA bar. The school CA happily replied, beautiful people here, my feelings can be bad. If you see that, you are very shy. And you whisper, look out on her. There's something else we don't know. Then she raised her finger and asked, went to Central Europe, or tell me a little bit about the forces here. Watch out, CA responds. There are a total of 8 major cities in Central Asia, in which the Central Heaven is the most prosperous. This time, the 3 princes of the lower dynasty is also. Before he finished speaking, the Lord came and spoke. This kind of mediocre convention, you can put it in your eyes. Yeah. High-end department continues. Just take it as a joke and listen to it. The CA replied yes. It is also true to try. Katingham thought, along with a bunch of underworld kids who sit around. This kind of boring stuff. If you don't want to, it's okay. On the other side, it's a lot of people going back and forth. And there's a voice. Have you heard anything? The ancestors of the forest world are back. You are. It is said that the fall's power ascended 30,000 years ago. A group of people sat down and talked. The world has been closed for thousands of years. It's not fake, really. I heard that Lin family personally drove him to open the apostolic meeting. The man sitting next to me whispered. Fake power comes from the ancient world of Lam Gia. If not, there's something more important. This is a good place to stay. And then he took out a piece of paper and thought. The ancient family is very prosperous and prosperous now. The secret of the people is not less than the master entrusted. Must quickly find disintegration. The next second, I frowned. He looked very angry and thought that the old school CA. We're not done. Not at the same time. There's a lot of people around. Outside a house, some people wonder if it's an ancestor trying to purge the CA and fill the CA bar that's inside, and everyone is whispering. But the man in white, sitting in the first place, is AI. It seems that his ancestors were very respectful to him. Try to close your eyes and speak up. It is hard to get a chance to go home once. You keep talking and don't pay attention to me. He heard that. He bowed his head and answered the Lord. People say that. The old man felt very happy, but I can't put you aside. And the CA bar is pondering. Not expected. The old man next to the old school CA is a fake strength. If you see that, then the tiger is not a dead man. The owner of the house is not surprised. To the point of opening my mouth and thinking, old man, did I hear wrong? The ancestors called him a slave. In front of this young man, everyone who's there is also very surprised, and hesitated to say, this one. CA then put her hand on her knee and said, if he doesn't care, I can do that. Just let me take a walk with you. He took the hand of the CA and left. It makes you very shy. The owner lowered his head and said, departure. Seconds later, trying to purge CA with a CA bar fill, slowly walk out of the room. The owner said that, Lord. Then he turned and shouted, you are familiar with the terrain here. Not even quick to show the way. When I heard that, I panicked and responded, yes, Father. She ran quickly towards the CA campus and hesitated to say, the Lord then said that. Little girl Lam Du Han worshiped the Lord. The school heard that. I glanced at you. I wonder what a good name is. Seconds later, screen appears on the top of Lam Du Han and notice. Your weight is 200. Thank you very much for your praise. The school asked, that must be trouble. Miss, can you take me and the CA bar for a walk? She held out her hand and hesitated, so she should do it. At the same time, Lin Tian put her hands on her chest and frowned. It seems to be very annoying. He's aesthetically pleasing. My heart suddenly hurts so much. Lam Thien thought, is this body's deathly remembrance of his billions? Then he turned to Grimace and said, the way is God. Why is SAO affected by such mundane things? Suddenly, the sky opened its eyes and suddenly realized something. So I thought to myself, wait for the girl. He looked at the CA bar and thought, 9 Yang Zhuang Shu action. Here, it's not the smelting furnace that we used to need. Lin Tian gave a sinister smile and thought, look out for your heart disease. I can easily help you heal. I can't believe the young man in their mouth. The air is so good. He's looking back at the CA and the aesthetics. It's a bit of a shame to be with him. Trying to chastise CA glanced back to Lam Thien and aesthetic. I want to go out looking for air. The prince has just appeared. I can't believe I brought myself to the door. Air velocity is 500, but I've never done anything to this teenager. Why do you feel the enemy on his person? And then I tried to stare at him and think about it because of her. He smiled with satisfaction and thought, that's good. The devil is smiling a sinister smile right now. And the CA school whispered, I hope you can live a little longer. All the people fill CA bar. CA and Lam Du Han take a walk on campus together. The school asked in surprise. My brother said that to him. Lam Du Han immediately replied, this is all recognized by everyone. He has no natural talent. Being from home is not good either, but I can also understand him. But in the end, there's no way. I close my eyes and say, what a poor child. But there are billions and billions that are beautiful. They care about protecting you. He's also pretty lucky. Lam Du Han replied no. In fact, the devil understands very well. I have also started to practice diligently recently. When the school heard that, they asked, I've been practicing SAO lately. Aesthetic personality teen scrap. The change in one night is, the fake power takes over the body, or is it identical? She frowned and replied, that's right VI. It's been stalled before, and there's been a breakthrough. In addition, he also showed a very strong gift. A knitting battle pharmacy. There was a time when he pointed out the error of the elder. The late CA said he could change. It means that your advice is useful. He knows, he understands the heart of a man like you. You were strict with him before. You really want to be good for him. Not SAO. I heard that whisper thinking. You are comforting me. Then you think again. I can't believe my husband understands me so well. Even the devil doesn't understand me. I think I treated him too harshly. The school is speaking again. Brother Lin Thien can change his appearance. Of course, it's a good thing. It must have been a shining jewel before. It's covered in dust, even if it's only a few days. That pointed out the error of this gifted elder. Lam Du Han immediately replied, the little angel is a precious jewel, with the gift of the former. Even the police can't burn it. The late CA school asked a series of questions. Even Lin High Police could not break through. So how does he practice knitting? Maybe the forest. Do you have any 7-year-old rules? These are the questions. It's like a ray of light flashed through the head of Lam Du Han. She opened her eyes wide and hesitated to talk about this. And CA glanced at the back and cheered. Then I thought, I think the South Korean government is suspicious with the transformation of the forest to harvest a little kai kai. It should be simpler than imagined. Seconds after the system notification sounds. Air transportation rules kai kai return. 0. Air transport chromaticity, air transport, kai 0. Can get an out-of-the-box celestial award. CA school sees that, then the celestial award aesthetics. Then the CA school thought it was a little interesting. The naked eye is my temporary protection. Still can't touch. See if you have to do it once. Harvest from the forest before. The night is slowly falling. There's a voice coming from a room. Let's do a little bit of soul. I thought you'd be hungry at midnight. Open the door and happily answer. Miss Lin has a heart. In the evening, they bring food. Please thank the lady first. When I heard that, I thought to myself, if you want to eat, take your food. Next, the clerk bowed his head to the CA bar and said, then please be a saint. I don't bother you. Rest again. I sat there and watched him leave and thought. It was the first time I met her that she remembered. Then the next second. Try to get CA out, grabbed the CA bar from behind, and asked, why are you jealous? When you hear that, your face is red. CA bar looked down. He seems to be very upset. She closed her eyes and replied that the man was too deep. It's hard to know what your favorite guy is. It doesn't matter whether you're jealous or not. And then the CA bar comes into the house and goes on. If the prince means that, just keep Miss Lin with you. When I tried to stop, I turned to look at her. I close my eyes and wonder, since when has this head become the heart of Africa? At the same time, The Hail Mary is still going back to her room. Suddenly, there's a voice that says, "Billions." Make you open your eyes. Then out is the sky. The customer was also surprised to ask, "What is the angel doing here?" He put his hand on his chin and asked, "Where are you going at night like this? Maybe I should go see that guy." When you hear that, you scream and shut up. Don't say anything next. She passed quickly through the sky and respond in an angry tone. "You don't have to worry about my own cultivation." Suddenly, Lin Thien took the hand of Lam Duhan. He turned around and screamed, "That guy's not a good guy. Don't be fooled by his appearance." It startled me when you heard that. A few seconds later, he shouted at Lin Thien's face, "What are you talking about, humble gentleman? Being a bad person, doesn't he look like a bad person? When you are as good as a man, then we can rest assured." The sky frowned and shouted, "Big SAO billion idiots do not see SAO. I am very angry right now and respond. You've been weird lately. Even though he is not a good man. With his condition, what's the plan with me?" He turned around and went on, "You should still check yourself." She watched him leave and hesitated. And Lam Duhan just went and pondered. This little cabinet of heaven keeps on growing stronger and stronger. But the temperament is no less extravagant. You go ahead and think. I forgot to ask him how he trained. The cold shoulder has begun to raise doubts about Lam Thien that the previous aesthetic training was also not possible. I haven't seen the shadow for days. Maybe there is a high priest. Then he frowned in thought that or. Lam Duhan stopped and stood thinking for a long time. The system's notification sounds. I have doubts about the way the world has changed. Lam Thien's airlift points are good 750 points. The value of the owner increased by 250 points. The school sees that. Stand and look out the window. Then, see a school with a smile full of satisfaction and aesthetics. Of course, it's evolved in the direction we calculated. The sky is not going to get it back. He wants to touch me at the same time. Lin Tian was sitting inside a forest and said, "Capital thought, waiting for a chance to approach that CA woman. Then we deal with you." The name they tried. Your house. Let's get Chen involved in my business and Lam Duhan. The sky is sweating right now. He frowned and talked to a body full of remembrance. It disturbed the spirit of the king. If you want to die, the king will be perfect for you. And then he put his hands on the ground. It creates a red light. It looks scary and says, use 9 passion incense soap from 8 kinds of pure animals. Plus 3 types of Greek villains, along with 15 of my own resources. To borrow from heaven and earth to take away life, kill the soul. Right then, the surrounding space was surrounded by that red light. And Lin Tian shouted outside the ghost guide. He put his hands on the ground and made. There was a big explosion that knocked everything around. Then, there's a red ray of light shooting up into the sky. That red light, high up in the sky and straight ahead. Next, Lin Tian sat down and leaned against a tree. He was sweating profusely and said, "Now we're doing the mantra at this level. It's still too reluctant, of course. But there's the addition of 15 years of service. By the late CA, you are lucky to have a life. It's sure to end badly." Lin Tian frowned and gave a sinister smile. And then he went on. Dare to fight for the 6 angels. then this is your end. A red ray of light shining through the sky. So dazzling. In that red light, there's a monster coming straight ahead. It looks scary. At the same time, the school is still sitting. Close your eyes and focus on the exercises. The school thought, it's almost like our data. The ghost breath is so familiar. I can't believe it's an outsider. Seconds behind your eyes. Suddenly, it's lit up. Aesthetic with your current VI. You can play some parts. And then there was a tornado. Along with a pink light. Very intense. The legs of an AI that's formed look so muscular. One hand, surrounded by a purple glow, also appeared. Then there's a giant, surrounded by pink lights. It's scary sitting on the roof. The eyes of the school are getting brighter and brighter. And he put on a sinister smile and said, the magic trick performed in front of me is the axe dance. Through the eyes of the worker at the same time, there's a red light. He's heading straight for the giant. At extremely fast speeds. Inside that red light is a monster. With those glistening eyes, it's horrible. The monster is still crazy. Towards the giant. Then the giant reached out his hand. The giant is now gripping a sphere. In the red light, the sphere slowly cracked raw and flashed a red light. The giant continues to blow up a blast. It makes everything around you fall apart. Lin Tian's eyes began to turn red. He frowned. He seems to be very upset and upset. The surrounding space, gradually surrounded by red light. When the owner saw that, he was worried. And not out of wonder, screaming this out loud. The old man frowned and praised the man. Everyone around me saw that and screamed. This breath is from the forest. Is the ancestor of Lam Ra Sao. In a small house in a murky forest. Lying on the ground with a pool of blood. The skies frowning and trying to force. Then he hesitated to say no. I didn't expect to be betrayed. Purple rays of light in the sky. Gradually dissipated. But instead, there's a yellow light coming up. So sparkling and brilliant. The school leaned down and thought, I can't believe this ghost. It makes my spirit much healthier. School owl CA holding a knit, surrounded by a yellow light up. And aesthetics still have a long-term duty. The system's notification sounds. The cause of Lam theme dropped sharply. Air cargo damaged 150 points. The value of the owner's destiny increased by 750 points. Right after that, I tried to chop CA into my mouth and thought, we haven't done anything yet. You have offered me such a feast. I stand up and think. That's it. Bring yourself to touch play for scrap. Still hard new. That's a good death for him. Suddenly, there's a voice coming from outside the room. The guard is not full. I hope the judge is punished. The school heard that. Open the door. I saw the old man with the people of the forest. Kneeling on the ground. I wonder to ask, what are you doing, CA? He shouted. We're not looking very closely. I hope the prince forgives me. Cal was also worried about asking. Who doesn't know? The CA school responded, not the culture. This level, of course, it's not possible to take a stand. The school continued, but I want to know. That AI could use such a trick in the lower world. The old man replied, the law has broken down like that. Surely the hand has been betrayed. The owner stood by and yelled, right. The police will summon all forces to investigate. Maybe we'll find the killer. Give the man an explanation. End of story. Everyone has their heads down.